Hi, this is Will with My Spiritual Clarity. This video is all about when my clients come to me and they say, I really care about other people. Sometimes, all the time, I put others before myself. I might say I'm a chronic helper, which means I have a tough time focusing on my own desires and goals, but I don't just want to cut people off or cut people out. So the other way that people might say this is boundaries. I have crappy boundaries. And this is the 8th pillar in the 8 pillars of the imposter complex. So I'll share with you in a little bit all 7 of them in this little very short story that I created to give an example of how they all stack up and stack together. But this last one is boundaries. And too often I find that my clients, healers, helpers, therapists, and coaches, they think that boundaries are the issue. They think that they need a better schedule. They think they need to wake up earlier so that they can carve out some time before the kids wake up. I mean, that might help, but they think they need to put a bigger, meaner sign in the door to say, kids keep out. Or they think, oh, I have bad boundaries. I don't know how to say no. All of those things might be true, but I feel that we in our culture, and especially in the spiritual industry, if you want to call it industry, spiritual groups, we put way too much emphasis on boundaries. We have courses about boundaries. We teach others how to make energetic bubbles as boundaries and barriers. Now, all these things might be appropriate, and the example that I give is, a restraining order. That's a very appropriate, very healthy boundary or bubble or barrier that in the right moment is very needed. So I'm not saying to never use barriers, boundaries. What I'm saying is 9 times out of 10, that's not the way to go. The way to go is to address the first 7 pillars of the 8 pillars of the imposter complex so that you don't need boundaries so much. There are some areas in my life where I used to have to, practice saying no and all these boundary things. And I found that when I did the belief clearing, the energy healing work of the first 7, I don't need boundaries so much anymore. People rarely cross my boundaries, except for my 4-year-old daughter. She has found a way just every day. Still got to work on that one. But besides that, I don't need boundaries like I used to. So I want to share this little story to emphasize the first 7 boundaries so that you can see the first 7 pillars so that you can see the boundaries is really just the very last step. If you go there first, I think it's very similar to when you take a drug to correct a physical illness. That's the last step. I'm not saying that it's never needed or not ever appropriate, but what I am saying is it should be, I think, the very last step, not the very first step. So here's the little story. And we'll make up a name for a person. So we'll say it's Jane. So Jane started procrastinating, and it led to overwhelm. And now that has led to her inner critic kicking her ass with judgment, criticism, and self-doubt thoughts. And then she developed the imposter complex. Fantastic. Not. And so she started playing small to stay safe, and also not fully owning her expertise. And then she gave in to people-pleasing and overgiving, thinking that it would help, but it didn't. And finally, lastly, she developed crappy boundaries and realized that she had lost a part of herself along the way. So, does any of that resonate? Does that sound like you? Have you been procrastinating? Have you been getting overwhelmed or letting your negative self-talk run the show? Or maybe you haven't been owning your expertise. You've been playing small and holding back and not fully putting yourself out there. And then you say, oh, it's boundaries. I need to have a better schedule, more rigorous schedule. I got to wake up earlier. I got to tell my family no. But none of it can really stick because that's the end of the line. That's not the beginning. So we begin with all the other videos in the series about procrastination and overwhelm and clearing specific judgments. And then with boundaries, I want to say there's another clearing. I apologize. Oh, there it is. There's another clearing that I want to give you as the tool for today. Excuse me, the tool for this video. And that is this. And it's a yes or no. So we're going to see if we can clear the belief. The belief that better boundaries will save you. Would you be willing to destroy that at the point of creation? Okay. The last part is identify why you need the boundary in the first place or think you need the boundary in the first place. So, for example, if my kid crosses the line, if I get emotionally engaged or frustrated or I lash out at my kid, verbally, then it's not because she crossed a boundary. I mean, she did, yes, but my emotional reaction is because I have a belief about that. So, for example, one that I realized that I have with my daughter is I think she's being selfish. Now, my rational brain comes in and says, Will, she's 4. Yes, she's selfish, but at that age, it's not being selfish. It is just her learning how to be in the world. It's not actually selfish. But in my less evolved moments, I get angry and annoyed because she's crossed a boundary and I think she's being selfish. And my boundary is you should be considerate of other people. It's a value of mine and that I grew up with and that I try to hold to. But that's just a belief. It's not actually truth. It's just a belief. So in that instance, I could clear a belief like the belief that stealing it for myself. The belief that my daughter should know better. Would I be willing to destroy that at the point of creation? So that's one example. Look for yourself. What's the boundary that you feel like, I need a better schedule for my work time, or I need this, or I need that. What's the boundary that you're trying to implement, but it's a Band-Aid solution? You're trying to go top down. Look at what that is and look and see what's the belief that's behind that. And that will be so much more effective and impactful. It'll just work better. So I hope this has been helpful. Please do let me know in the comments below if you got anything out of this video or this little series of videos, how this is landing for you, what your takeaways are. I would love to hear from you. And again, my name is Will, and this is My Spiritual Clarity. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.